Welcome back. You're listening to the Melanie Philips Show on Voice of Israel. I'm Melanie Philips. With me now is Professor Moshe Koppel, chairman of the Kohelet Policy Forum, a Jerusalem-based centre which seeks to anchor the rights of the Jewish people in a sovereign state of Israel, and which has been involved in providing the intellectual basis for the proposed Jewish nation-state law in its various forms over the years. Professor Koppel, welcome. Can you, first of all, tell us, why is this proposed Jewish state basic law needed at all? Isn't it just an unnecessary provocation?
No. The law is necessary because, in fact, Israel's democratic character and the basic rights that it provides all its citizens is well established in basic laws, which Amir mentioned before. What is not established in basic laws is Israel's character as the nation state of the Jewish people. Often, the courts have to deal with very, very delicate issues in which they need to balance universal rights with the Jewish character of the state. And unfortunately, lacking a basic law with which to in which the Jewish character of the state is anchored, they tend to favor the liberal side rather than the Jewish side. We believe that this should be remedied.
Well, we heard from Dr. Fuchs that the proposed law will unbalance the equilibrium of a Jewish democratic state and prefer the former over the latter, that there is no entrenched rights of equality, freedom of expression, and so on, and that the existing basic laws which guarantee civil and religious rights don't need a majority to change them, and they're under threat from those who want to diminish equality. Hasn't he got a point that these laws are already fairly fragile?
In fact, these laws are not fragile at all. Since they were passed in 1992, the court, initially led by Aaron Barak and now by his successors, has broadened the interpretation of these laws to include almost anything. So just to give you an example of an area in which the Jewish character of the state needed to be balanced against universal rights, there was the question of family unification. Over 100,000 Palestinian Arab males, and it was always males, were given citizenship in Israel because they married local Arab women. The Knesset passed an amendment to the immigration law that said that those who come from hostile states or territories are not entitled to automatic citizenship on the basis of marriage. This was challenged in the courts, and the court upheld it by a 6-5 vote only because it was a temporary amendment. The court made clear that had it been a permanent amendment, it would have disqualified the law as violating the law on human dignity. Now, as a matter of fact, there's nothing in the law of human dignity that would actually justify disqualifying that law. But in addition to that, the most disturbing thing is that in defending the law, the state was unable to say that this law was justified because this is a Jewish nation state. In fact, it was reduced to making arguments on the basis of security, in which the court found weaknesses.
Nevertheless, critics like Dr. Fuchs say that even given the proposed new wording which will seek to enshrine protection of civil and religious rights of all people, that wording won't be enough, because he makes a very specific point. There are going to be no collective rights. There are only going to be individual rights. Now, he makes the point that, first of all, collective rights are necessary, but he defines collective rights as kind of cultural rights, which are not the same as national rights. Does that make sense to you, or do you agree with that?
No, I think we need to clarify some of the terms of the debate here. The issue here is not between a Jewish nation state versus democracy. There are really three things we need to consider. Democracy, which has been reinterpreted by the courts in Israel to mean liberal values, means that the people are sovereign, that the people elect their representatives. That's democracy. Liberalism means that people are entitled to certain fundamental rights. Okay? And the idea that we're a Jewish nation state is kind of orthogonal to those two. It means, what are the symbols of the state going to be, the state's specific allegiances to people outside the state, selective immigration policy, and so on. The real tension, which exists in all countries, not only in nation states or in a Jewish nation state, is between democracy, where the people, the majority, rules, and liberal values. It may be that the majority will discriminate against the minority and take away fundamental rights. Now, that has nothing to do with being a Jewish nation state. That is a basic problem in all countries between majority rule and rights. Those rights are generally not interpreted to mean collective rights. Those are individual rights, okay? Yes, if Dr. Fuchs believes that what we need to be doing now is giving Arabs collective rights, well, I respectfully disagree. This is a Jewish nation state precisely in the sense that collective rights belong to the Jewish majority. What I do concede, and what's in the law very explicitly, is that all individuals have the right to preserve their culture. That's marginally a collective right. It's certainly not a national right, and on the margins of a collective right. But again, it's individuals who have the right to work collectively in order to preserve their culture and language.
Okay. But isn't it the case that, as Dr. Fuchs says, this proposed law gives a tremendously negative message to Arabs and other minorities? It makes them less than 100% Israeli. For example, the flag is not to be their national symbol. What would you say, for example, to the father of Zaydan Leif, the Druze policeman who was killed in the terror attack on the Jerusalem synagogue, and to whose funeral thousands of Israelis of all denominations and none came to pay their respects? What would you say to that father who is aggrieved that somehow his son is going to be remembered as less than 100% Israeli?
No, he will not. I think that to make the argument that the fact that Israel is a Jewish nation state somehow makes non-Jewish citizens second class is an insult to those citizens. The Druze have been loyal citizens of Israel since the founding of the state. They've fought side by side with Jews in the army, and they understand that this is a nation state of the Jewish people in which they can live their culture, they can speak their language, and they can be equal citizens in all respects, but it nevertheless is the nation state of the Jewish people.
Isn't the problem that, unlike, say, Britain, where I come from, people can sign up to being British, even though they come from many different cultures and have many different nationalities, because British is this wonderful portmanteau term? Isn't the problem about the Jewish the Jewish identity of Israel, that you can't sign up to be a Jew?
That's true. I remind you, however, that Britain also has an official religion, right, which is Anglicanism. And Jews live in Britain almost as equal citizens. Lately, it's been difficult for them, as you know better than I. But nevertheless, it is a Christian country. I don't think Jews feel discriminated against because of the fact that the Queen of England has to be an Anglican.
No, but the flag is the national symbol of everybody in Britain, and it would strike a lot of people in Britain and around the West as very strange, if not very worrying, that the national flag of Israel wouldn't be the national flag of an Arab Israeli or a Druze Israeli.
Well, you know, an Arab Israeli can pledge his allegiance to a state that has a Star of David on its flag, just as Jewish citizens in Switzerland are able to be loyal Swiss citizens even though there's a cross on the flag. These symbols represent the fact that the state is a Jewish nation state, that it has special meaning for Jewish people and will defend those people. Nevertheless, since all citizens, even non-Jews, know that they have the right to preserve their culture and to live as equal citizens, they can be loyal to that state.
Isn't the real criticism of this proposed new law one that comes from the other side of the political argument, that it actually is pointless? It's not going to change anything. It's not going to alter the balance in the way that you suggest, because basically the courts are going to continue to have the power to strike down whatever they want and reinterpret Judaism, Israel, secular values, liberal values in precisely the way they want.
That's a very fair criticism of this law. I agree. This law does come to correct a problem that was basically created by the courts. Since the courts extended the meaning of the 1992 Basic Laws to absurd extremes, it was necessary to repair that by creating a symmetry here with this law. I concede that the ideal way to fix the problem would be to change the way we appoint judges in this country. We appoint judges are essentially self-appointing. They are the strongest block on the committee that appoints new judges. That is really the main change that needs to be made. But until such time as we can make that change, which the Israel Democracy Institute will fight against tooth and nail along with the whole judicial establishment, until we can make that change, which is really the necessary change, I think it's reasonable for us to do the best we can in terms of legislating Israel as a Jewish nation state. I think that, if we're going to be cynical and say it doesn't matter what you do, it doesn't matter what you legislate, in the end, the judges will do what they want, well, that kind of cynicism will sink us into apathy and inaction. I don't want to get there. Let's do the best we can and hope there'll be some reasonable judges who will interpret these laws in a reasonable way.
And if this law is enacted and it becomes a basic law that Israel is a Jewish nation state, what effect do you think that will have on Israel's standing in the world? There are people, as you know, who think this is a tremendous self-inflicted PR own goal, that it enshrines in people who are already hostile the view that Israel will become a discriminatory state. Or do you think that establishing Israel very firmly as a Jewish state will actually make things better for Israel in terms of how the world views it?
Most of the criticism we've heard from around the world has apparently been by people who have not actually read the law, but rather who've been fed all of this misinformation by the very people who claim to be concerned about Israel's reputation. So it's hard to take that criticism seriously. I think precisely because of the erosion of Israel's status as a Jewish nation state around the world, precisely by those who recognize the necessity for a Palestinian nation state, but somehow think the idea of a Jewish nation state is unacceptable, it's time for us to make a very clear statement so that the world understands where we stand.
Thank you very much indeed, Professor Koppel. We're going out for the news now. I'll be back in a few minutes with my next guest, Ambassador